Proactive Caregiving podcast. As a CPA with over 20 years as an industry accountant, Jessica stepped away from the corporate world to become a full-time caregiver for her mother. Having learned invaluable lessons along the way, she is now here to share those with you and to invite you to join her on this caregiver's journey. Here is your host, Jessica Cannon.
You know, it's so ironic. Before Mom was introduced to her community where she's living now, I kept thinking, now is not the time. We have plenty of time. We'll just wait this out. I'll wait until she's further along in her life and journey of living with dementia. So hopefully that she would live to the point where she really doesn't notice the difference or is aware of what's happening, so that I would feel less guilt in the process. But then I realized as time went by, that guilt was coming from a place where I was worried about, am I doing enough? Am I doing it correctly? Am I doing it more efficiently? How can I be more organized that I can balance her life and her needs with my own? And the idea of having her away from me, not being in control of her day-to-day really scared me. And until it got to the point where as days go by and moments and issues and her health and her abilities degrade, and her mood swings even to an extent, just got to the point where I really need to start considering this in a more positive way or a more honest, this is coming regardless of what I feel guilt-wise or otherwise. And so the time came where Mom actually became more of a fall risk. And my concern of her living with me in our house, in a 2-story house, going up and down the stairs, was definitely getting to be more difficult for her. She was complaining of her knees hurting more often, but I had maybe one moment that she actually didn't really fall. It was a controlled, I don't want to call it a fall. She bent down one day trying to pick something up, only to realize by bending over to pick up a pencil off the floor, she couldn't do it as an easy, simple bend. And then she ended up kneeling to get to the pencil. And then once she kneeled down to get to the pencil, she couldn't lift herself all the way back up. She didn't have the muscle strength in her legs. And so she ended up going down on all fours and then pretty much laying flat on her stomach, trying to drag herself to the recliner to pull herself up that way. And I kept trying to help her, and she kept pushing me off, saying no, she can do it on her own. And the more I tried to help her, the more frustrated I was. But also at the same time, when I thought, you know what, let me just do this for you. You shouldn't be having to drag yourself on the floor. You're obviously struggling. I actually tried to lift her, and I couldn't. We're talking about a woman who's 5 foot even, and at that time she was roughly 184 pounds, and I could not lift her. And I'm 5'4", roughly 155 pounds, give or take a pound. But I could not for the life of me lift her. And I started to see the difference of what I was physically capable of doing versus the positive intent, what I really wanted to do. So then as the time came, finally making the decision, she's starting to fall more often elsewhere, out and about, groceries, getting in and out of the car, struggling. Her knees were starting to hurt her even more. And so rather than be put in a place or in a time of risk where something can actually happen, and as opposed to her being in an environment where the majority of the risk was removed, I made the choice to finally find a community for her that she would be able to continue to live and thrive in, and we could find a place of balance. My first thought was, this is great. She'll have a place where she can thrive, activities, interaction with others closer to her age, and I would actually finally get time back to myself to do other things, anything for that matter, even sleeping through the night without having to worry about her getting up in the middle of the night to use the restroom and if she'd fall on the way to or from the bathroom. But ironically, shortly after she was there, I think I worried even more. And it came to be that point where I had to actually accept. I can't have my hands on and be in control all the time. I had to choose to let go in that type of sense where trust in the facility, trust in the staff, trust in mom's actual interest there. But it was just one of those things that kept eating away at me because I would go and visit, trying to see her 2 to 3 times a week and checking in. I dropped in all different kinds of times of the week, days, times of the afternoons, mornings, just to see what it would be like at any one time. There was no regular visit, so anybody anticipating me coming could put on the shows, so to speak. But going to the facility, I was more than convinced that she was in a great community. She was in a great environment. She had people that cared for her. She had people that were spoiling her rotten even, which made me feel so much more at ease. But something still just kept nagging at me, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And it was really that over a period of weeks as time passed by, the longer she was there, the more she got settled, but the more I seemed to feel like I was on edge. I wasn't seeing her every day. I wasn't there to ask or even encourage, did you brush your teeth? Did you take a shower? Did you change your clothes? Those were all the things that I became so used to doing on a day-to-day basis that if I didn't see her do it, that I didn't believe she actually did it because, honestly, the times that she may say, yes, I did, and either she really didn't feel like it, so she would tell me, yes, she did, or she honestly remembered another day that she did it, or another time, or maybe that evening it was, yes, I did it. Well, yes, you did, but that was you did it in the morning kind of thing, not it's time to do it again. But those back and forth, those same little conversations that would make me feel so frustrated during the day or the evening with her, ironically, I was almost missing. I don't even know if that's the right way to phrase it. It was a routine that things were changing and feeling comfortable from what we were, how we learned to live and what we were dealing with day to day. Now accepting how she was living and where she was living and being, it's like that. The only thing I can think of how to describe it is the parent that takes their kid to the daycare for the first time or to kindergarten on that first day of school, and they're going to be okay. But as soon as you walk away, all the what ifs come rushing through. And of course, making that decision was hard in itself for me, but trying to make sure everybody else who was involved, other family members involved, were all on the same page with me, that in itself was just as difficult. And so knowing full well that you can't please everybody, and when it comes down to it, in the end, it's about her. It's about her needs being met. It's about her care. It's about keeping her safe. It's all these things that I could convince myself over one thing after the other and not worry. It just didn't end up being that simple. It took me seeing it day by day, seeing her environment, seeing her in her environment, seeing her thrive in her environment, to finally feel comfortable and at ease and know that this choice was hard to make because the guilt and all of the potential what ifs, they're going to be there no matter what. And I needed to trust and have faith. And by seeing it day by day, I can't honestly tell you that I have faith and I was able to trust absently of actually being there and seeing it. Because in this case, for me, seeing was believing. I couldn't just relax and be calm and be okay with not being in control unless I was able to see it. So the more I visited, the more I felt like, hey, I'm happy. Even I'm getting to gain new friends out of this process, or acquaintances for that matter, seeing the staff there and seeing how everybody just loves her, and they laugh about all the silly things she does that were eventually driving me crazy, but it was nice. It was different. It was reassuring. So the before the community, after the community, adjusting to all of this, it is yet another process along this journey. Not an easy one to make, not an easy one to go through. And I still have my moments day by day wondering how she's doing, what she's doing. And I know when I get there and I visit her and I see her smile, I'm just reminded yet again, everything's going to be fine. You have nothing to worry about. The trust, the faith, it's all there. You can live your life, and she's going to continue to live hers, however many days she's blessed with. And we're all good. It is what it is. And so now, no matter what, when I leave her, I smile, kiss her, hug her, and I know I'll come back again, and I'll be just as happy to see her as she is to see me. And we're both in a better place overall. And on that note, I love you, Mom.
Thank you for joining us today. We really hope you've enjoyed this episode. To learn more about proactive caregiving and to hear other episodes of this podcast, please visit www.jessicalizelcannon.com. This podcast is produced by Cannon Light Media, LLC, www.cannonlightmedia.com. Music provided by Khris Paradise.